Puerto Rico is one of the most electrified countries in the world. Almost 4 million people enjoy the comfort of a modern lifestyle, no matter where they live. Puerto Rico's economic development is due to the high level of electrification on the island. Although the island of Puerto Rico is only 100 miles long by 35 miles wide, it is crossed by a hard-to-reach mountain range with peaks as high as 3,900 feet. Prior to the electrification of the rural areas, life in rural Puerto Rico was harsh and sacrificed. Tasks such as cooking and getting drinkable water were very difficult because the water pumps used to distribute water to higher altitudes required electricity. It was common to see countrymen carrying branches and heavy jars of water to cook with. At night, houses were candlelit. Oil lamps known as quinqués were also common. The town streets were lit with gas lamps. Electrical lights were unheard of until Don José Ramón Figueroa y Rivera's estate in Villalba installed the first light system in 1893. San Juan residents also enjoyed seeing electrical power in 1893, when the Princess Maria Eulalia and her husband Antonio Maria de Orleans, both members of the Spanish royal family, visited the island. For this royal event, the Anonymous Society of Electrical Light put 8 electrical lights, 600 lamps, and colored garlands that gave off a dazzling light show as had never been seen before in Puerto Rico. That same year, some public facilities in the San Juan area started using electrical power. However, this service was not available to the general public. Until 1915, power was generated only by small private companies providing service to some urban areas. In that same year, as a byproduct of lakes used for crop irrigation systems, power was generated by a public agency for the first time. The development of government-owned power required the creation of a new government agency. The Water Resources Utility Agency was founded in 1926. The agency proposed the Rural Electrification Program. The goal of this program was to bring power to the rural areas. However, the country's geography made the beginning of the program an uphill battle. The beginning of World War II brought harsh times where many services and products were scarce, as the United States focused all its resources on war-related industries. The Puerto Rico Water Resources Authority, a public corporation evolving from the Water Resources Utility Agency, was founded in 1941. It managed to satisfy the demands of its subscribers but could not accept new service requests. In 1944, only 12% of our countryside had electrical service. Although the focus was on the war, the authority held fast to its commitment to electrify all the rural areas on the island. In 1945, as part of their growth strategy, the authority bought almost all of the remaining private electrical systems servicing the island, and so finally owned an integrated power grid. In 1946, the Puerto Rican legislature approved an annual budget of $400,000 for the authority to use to extend power service into our countryside and to help low-income families with the investment expenses. In the late 40s, the demand for power grew. The authority decided to switch from hydroelectric power to thermoelectric generation. This was the beginning of large-scale electric generation in Puerto Rico. In 1952, the Federal Administration for Rural Electrification conceded the authority loans at a 2% interest rate to use in the expansion and improvement of the rural electrification. But even with these funds, the authority faced high operation and conservation costs in the rural areas versus the amount of energy being consumed. The authority faced the dilemma of how to increase the demand for energy in the rural areas. One of the reasons that so few people were consuming power in the rural areas was that many of the future subscribers did not have enough money to pay an electrician. Although the power lines were being built at no cost to the consumer, An electrician was needed to install the necessary wiring in the home. The authority handled this problem by creating the Electrification of Houses program. This program provided the rural subscriber with the interior installation at a lower cost. This cost was then divided into 60 monthly payments that were included on the subscriber's bill. The authority also created the Basic Electrical Equipment Program, so families could obtain an iron, a radio, and a stove financed by the authority. This helped boost the levels of energy being consumed in the countryside.
Yo tengo que decir inclusive de mi familia, donde nosotros nacimos en un campo y donde a la edad de 10 años llegó la energía eléctrica a mi casa. Por tanto, nos propicia la calidad de vida y segundo, evita la inmigración de estas grandes concentraciones de puertorriqueños de la zona rural a la zona urbana y así pues entonces nos hace más habitable al país.
Although the rural electrification was taking off, the raising of light posts and the inspection of the electrical wires were still too slow. Due to these problems, only the houses closest to higher density populations and in easier access terrains enjoyed power quickly. In 1947, the authority obtained a small fleet of Beechcraft Bonanza airplanes to transport its technical employees to the rural lines that had to be inspected. In 1950, they bought a Hiller 360 helicopter, and so the Airborne Operations Department of the Puerto Rico Water Resources Authority was created. The authority still faced the challenge of raising light posts and doing line installations in the remotest parts of the island. In 1959, engineer Julio Oms, the district construction superintendent, came up with an innovative idea that became the focus of the development and extension of power lines in the rural mountain areas of the island. Ohms, who had served in the United States Army in Germany, came up with a system in which helicopters would be used to raise light posts. Full steam ahead, Ohms met with the top executives from the authority and promised the director, Mr. Sol Luis Descartes, that he would have 11 projects up before they were even ready to be energized. The authority decided to give Ohms a shot and approved the purchase of a Sikorsky helicopter to be used in difficult and remote terrains to install light posts. The helicopter would serve as an aerial tow to lift and transport the light posts to their installation site. It was the first time in history that an electrical system would be installed this way. The speed with which those first light posts were installed proved the advantages of using this technique. The installation was increased from 1.3 to 3.3 miles. Thanks to the cleverness of engineer Ohms, the program overcame the obstacle that had held back the expansion of the grid into rural Puerto Rico. The program began as an impossible dream, and today it's a reality. Nowadays, a child at the highest tip of the island can study at night. Homes are warm and welcoming, and life is easier for our country folk.
Para llegar posiblemente a un lugar recóndito de esto, antes hacíamos 3 días o 4 días de camino con tractores. Ahora, con nuestra flota aérea, nosotros llegamos al sitio, llevamos los materiales, llevamos los trabajadores y no impactamos el ambiente.
Who could have guessed that a helicopter would be key in the development of a whole country? The rural electrification program enriched the Puerto Rican economy, allowing the countryside to be as productive as the city, and thus helped to reduce huge immigration waves to the cities. Today, this continues to be true, as many workplaces are available in rural areas. The American Public Power Association says that the Puerto Rico Electrical Power Authority, the name that the Puerto Rico Water Resources Authority acquired in 1976, is second in sales and services amongst 2,000 energy providers in the United States and its jurisdictions. Because of projects such as the rural electrification, we can proudly say that 99% of the island enjoys electric power service and that our countryside contributes to the economic development and quality of life enjoyed by all Puerto Ricans.